Folks, we are 1 week away from Nebraska kicking off their season versus Cincinnati. And with that being said, fall camp continues to heat up. One of our biggest questionable positional groups has turned out to be one of our best over these past couple days. So today, we're going to discuss the Huskers defensive backfield, the breakout players, the studs, the duds, some guys who are fighting to start for the first time in their careers, and then a couple of veterans who might lose their position. We'll talk about it, some big time camp intel, and everything else you need to know. So really quick, this is a loaded fall ball update. Hit that like button if you're fired up. And also, if you're a diehard Nebraska fan and you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Listen, the season's almost here, and this is the only place you can get daily talk for your team talking Huskers. It's no brainer. Take 2 seconds, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, we have a lot to talk about. Man, oh man, fall camp continues to heat up. We're getting so close to the season. And with that being said, Nebraska's defensive backs have been balling out. This is one of the biggest question marks, in my opinion, going into this year, because you lost Tommy Hill, you lost Isaac Gifford, and you had a bunch of young players who needed to prove themselves. Our secondary last year was not very good. It gave up big play after big play. And when you look at the stats, we were almost dead last in the Big Ten when it comes to passing yards given up per game. So for that reason, it needed to break out with a brand new defensive coordinator, a brand new DB coach, and it looks like it is doing that. So I want to get things started talking specifically about the corners. Let's go to Ceyair Wright. Now, this is somebody who has had a phenomenal fall practice, and that was seen when he got the #1 single-digit uniform the other day. Now, of course, I want to mention this right off the very bat. He's dealt with a hamstring over these past couple weeks. He's been very off and on. Nebraska, they're taking it slow. They're hoping that it goes away by Cincinnati, so it's a little bit concerning. So for that reason, Ceyair Wright, he'll practice one day, they'll hold him out the next, and pretty much so on. But when Ceyair Wright is on the field, he's taking it to a different level. There's a reason why he's rocking the single digit. Nebraska has confidence that he could be one of the best corners, not only in this conference, but in the country, that he could be a first-round, second-round NFL draft pick. There were multiple times in the scrimmage a couple days ago where he had some big-time interceptions. In practice, he's locking down Dane, he's locking down Jacory, Barney at times. Again, this receiver room's loaded. It's very talented, and if there's anybody who can line up man coverage against them, it is Ceyair Wright. So my big concern around him, at least going into it this year, was, yes, we know he's a very good corner 2, but it's a big adjustment going from corner 2 to corner 1 in the Big Ten, because you go up against playing medium tier receivers to the Jeremiah Smiths of the world, the Ryan Williams of the world. So we've seen Nebraska corners in the past, whether it's Cam Taylor, Brett, Lamar Jackson, even Tommy Hill, when they make that transition, when they become the guy in the corner room, they're not very successful from the very rip, right? They struggle. Ceyair Wright, you're hoping that when we get to Cincinnati, when we get to Michigan, there's no growing pains. That he's a lockdown corner from day one, and he's that way as the year progresses. But the main thing around him at this point, I hope this hamstring goes away, because we've been hit by the injury bug in this room. Okay, last year it happened all year long, specifically with Tommy Hill. I didn't see Ceyair Wright to play all 12 games, but from an on-the-field standpoint, he's been great so far in fall practice. And then going to Andrew Marshall, who currently is our corner 2. It's going to be that way going to Cincinnati. He's had a phenomenal fall ball. And this was one of the biggest positional battles in my mind going into these last couple weeks, was it's pretty much down to him or Amare Sanders to be our corner 2. And pretty much within 2 days of fall camp, he solidified that spot with how well he was playing. And Marshall, I think a lot of Nebraska fans are going to fall in love with this game pretty quickly, because he exemplifies everything you're looking for from a corner. Okay, he has that aggressive cockiness, that confidence that you need at position. You need to be a little bit cocky. You need to get in people's heads a little bit. You need to chirp a little bit. Okay, he does that. He has that old school swag to him. He rocks the visor. He's speedy. He's quick. He plays special teams. He returns kicks. He can get interceptions. But the best thing about Andrew Marshall is pound for pound, he's one of the best man coverage players on this team. Last year, we could not cover in man coverage at all. At all. Okay, Ceyair Wright was the only guy who could do that. Okay, but time and time again, we'd have Bly Hill get burned in man, or we'd have Jeremiah Charles out there, or Marquez Buford happened all year last year, or Malcolm Hartsock. We cannot cover other teams in man coverage. So for that reason, we go to cover 2, we go to cover 3, we go to zone. This year, we can run man coverage a lot more aggressively, because you feel very confident not only in Andrew Marshall, but in his counterpart, Ceyair Wright. And he's had a very strong fall practice. But I think from a physicality standpoint, he's also been very good. So again, checks a lot of boxes, but hopefully he lives up to that when we get to Cincinnati. Again, it's a big adjustment. You go from Idaho, which you're playing against some decent squads, obviously in the Big Sky. Like, it's not the worst level of competition, but that's no Big Ten. Big Sky to Big Ten, that's an adjustment. So hopefully, there's no growing pains, but he looked very good in fall camp. And then, talking a little bit about Amare Sanders, like, he was a big conversational point all summer, but it's been dead all fall. Like, nobody's really talked about him. So I'll give you the intel that I've heard. Amare Sanders has struggled a little bit. Okay, he's 6'1", 190. He had a very good end of the season last year, but he has struggled. There's a reason why Andrew Marshall won that competition very quickly, not only because Andrew played well, but Amare clearly wasn't ready. Now he's still going to be our corner 3. He's still going to play a lot, but you're just hoping that, he can kind of learn very quickly in the season that some of these growing pains that have been happening, over camp, he's not the best in man coverage right now. He's a lot better in zone, but he's been getting exposed a little bit. So you're hoping that going into week 4, you're going into these last couple days before, in Cincinnati, that he makes up a lot for these lost times, these lost reps, and he can play a lot better. But I've been kind of disappointed with Amare Sanders. I thought he was going to be more competitive, but again, he's still going to play a lot this year. But it kind of exemplifies maybe a little problem with this corner room where you feel great about the top guys, but you got to get deeper here, and it is a little bit concerning. But Amare said, he's fine. Like, I don't want to make it sound like he's going to be a liability when he gets out there. Like, that's not going to happen. But he's just not going to be a shutdown corner like maybe I was expecting a couple of weeks ago. Like, it's just kind of hasn't been that way in fall camp. Like, he's been fine. He's been probably B-, right? C+, right? But it's not an A. It's not a B+, right? So that's my take around Amare Sanders. But talking about some corners who have really played well, like Jamarion had a really strong fall ball. He started off bad. It was bad in week 1. He was getting burnt left and right, but he had a really good scrimmage. I think our first scrimmage of the year, which was week 2, arguably was the best performer in that. And he's playing at nickel. He also plays boundary corner, pretty much can play all over the field. It's the same things I always loved about Jamarion coming out of Southern Illinois, where he's so physical. He's so handsy, maybe to a bad extent. Like, he is handsy, which is good. He's poking that ball free. The only thing around Jamarion is that sometimes he'll get called for those pass interference. Like, there was a play that was posted by the media team where, like, Jacory burned him. I mean, he just burned him. And Jameer's holding on for dear life, cleared pass interference because he's trying to stay in the play. So that's the only thing around Jameer where, again, he's so physical. That's great. He has great speed on him. He's twitchy, but he's a little too handsy. And you're hoping that he can clean that up. But, man, he's had a really strong week 2, week 3, week 4. Kind of turn it up from week 1, which is just not very good. So good news around there when it comes to Jamarion. And also Donovan Jones, same deal. Like, had a very poor week 1, especially when we saw him to start off fall camp when the media was there, even at that open practice. But over these past couple weeks, it's been very good. He was running with the ones a lot in that scrimmage. He plays safety, plays corner, plays nickel all over the field. He's going to play a lot more safety this year, but Donovan Jones, I mean, just gives you a lot more confidence in the depth of this room. That if he's going to go out there and play corner specifically, you feel confident he can at least hold things down. He's not going to be a liability. He's maybe not going to be a game changer for you, but has a really strong fall camp. So another guy who you're pretty confident about. And this talking about the nickels really quick here, because I made this very clear. The rover position's gone. Like, we need to stop referring it to rover. It's really not rover. It's nickel. At least that's what it's going to be. They might still call it the rover, but it's going to be more of a traditional nickel, right? It's going to be a slot corner. That's what you can expect. Malcolm Hartzog, I put him in my duds list in my video not too long ago just because I wanted Malcolm Hartzog to prove to everybody that this is not going to be a rerun of 2024 or 2023, that he was going to finally break out, use his speed, use his aggressiveness for the better, and be more of a lockdown corner. And unfortunately, just hasn't been that way so far in fall camp. Like, he hasn't played terrible, but there have been multiple clips on the media team where they're post, Jacory Barney wide open. And Jacory Barney's a different beast. I understand that. And Dane Key's great too. But time and time again, Malcolm Hartzog's on those clips just not looking great, right? Not holding his own in man coverage. And it's been that way throughout his career. So I was hoping Hartzog would have like a phenomenal fall ball and it'd be very clear he's our starting nickel. But we're at that point where with a brand new DC, brand new secondary coach, if he's not playing up to snuff pretty early on, they might move him away. And they might say, you know what? Mario Buford, you're going to get a chance. And this is somebody who has had a strong fall ball, who has developed himself in man coverage, who continues to be a physical guy, who can play all over the field. He played safety a lot last year. They moved him to nickel. They moved him to corner. So Mario Buford's somebody I'm kind of high on, and I like him as a depth piece. And then we can't forget a guy like Larry Tarver as well, who, in my opinion, is one of the best pound-for-pound man coverage players on this team. He can play nickel. I like him a little bit more boundary, but they're playing him at nickel. So I just saw that, like, while maybe Malcolm Hartzog isn't the best starter in the world, it's not like we're screwed if he's out of the game. Like, we have options beside him. So I think nickel's really loaded. You really can't go wrong with those four guys, whether it's you can't go wrong with Hartzog. But you got Jameer Collins, nice backup, Mario Buford, high ceiling, and Larry Tarver, high ceiling. That's a solid grouping there. Corner depth's a little concerning after maybe the top four. Once you get into the Jeremiah Charles of the world, once you get into Blyhill's injured, so you can't even say Blyhill. I mean, once you get those other guys, the corner's a little bit risky. Don't love that about corner. And I would say this about safety. Safety is kind of the same way. Like, you feel great about Deshaun Singleton, who's had a great fall camp as expected, right? Deshaun Singleton, I mean, he's going to be, in my opinion, the best player on this defense. And it's not even close. Marquez Buford, I think, is going to be fine moving back to his traditional position, but you get some of the depth in the safety core, it's not phenomenal. Like Donovan, sure, I think he's more going to be of a backup corner, but he's going to play safety from time to time. You get Justin Rhett, he's had an okay fall ball. Haven't heard too much about him, for better or worse. You got former walk-on Branch in there. I mean, he's all right? He's not somebody who's going to really impress you at all with his physical traits. Just a decent tackler. Guy who's just going to go out there and do the right things, but never going to make a game-changing play for you. And then really that's about it. I mean, you got Tanner Turk, who's had a decent fall camp as a true freshman. You got Rex Guthrie, who's run the ones not too long ago. They kind of like his game. He might get some reps at safety. So it's not like a terrible grouping there, the depth of the safety room, but you're just going to hope Deshaun Singleton doesn't get hurt, because he has got hurt. Like, that's a common theme with him. So he needs to play all 12 games along with Marquez Buford. So overall, talking about the corners and the DBs and the nickels, from what we learned from fall camp, you feel great about the top 4 for Nebraska. Amare Sanders maybe hasn't broke out the way we expected, but you still feel good about the depth. Once you get a little deeper, it gets concerning. Nickel's loaded from top to finish, from top to bottom. But safety does have some questions when it comes to depth. So I'll just say this. I think if we just look at the starting lineup, Nebraska's secondary is probably the 3rd best unit on this team. Like, it's good. It's deep. And again, the reason why I'm confident about this unit is because I think Aslan Williams is a great positional coach, but more than anything, John Butler, our new DC, knows how to scheme up the secondary. He might not be the greatest in, a D-line standpoint or scheming up blitzes. He's going to develop that, over his career with Nebraska as a DC, but he's been a secondary coach his entire life. So if there's one positional group he knows how to scheme up and have them, be put in a position to have success, it's that unit. So I think Nebraska's secondary is going to break out in a big way. They're not going to be a liability anymore. The main thing I need from them is to be better in man coverage, which they were awful at last year, and giving up big plays. They gave up big play after big play last year. Like, there'd be a time against Wisconsin, they gave a big play. They gave a big play against UCLA all the time. USC, right? Can't do that anymore. Okay. Got to be consistent all game long. No big plays. No 30-yard bombs, 40-yard bombs, and also take the ball away when needed. And I think all this is going to come true. For that reason, I think Nebraska's secondary will be solid. But more than anything, got to stay healthy, because you get to some of the depth. There are some questions there. So hopefully our top guys are healthy and they don't, like specifically Malcolm Hartsock, hopefully they don't fall off a cliff. Hoping he can have a good year in his final campaign with Nebraska. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts down below about Nebraska's DBs. Want to hear your thoughts. Hey, if you made this far, hit that like button and subscribe. As always, folks, go be great, go Metro, and I'll see you in the next one.